Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan back here again today with another video in our Pluto series, and today we're going to be talking about Pluto in the third house. So if you've been keeping up with the channel and you like the content that I've been putting out, you can of course support me on a platform called coffee.com by buying me a coffee. The support that you provide me with will go into purchasing tools and equipments that I need to use in order to put out these YouTube videos for you guys, as well as doing birth chart readings. And I have made a Pluto introduction video. I highly recommend that you check out that video first. The link's up above in the description box below to kind of get a comprehensive understanding of what it means, of what Pluto is doing in your chart, and then you can come back and watch this video. So if you have Pluto in the third house, your biggest transformation is coming from you being able to turn that penetrating intellect, which can be at first a danger to you and others, into penetrating intellect that is of benefit to yourself and to others. And this is a very interesting journey. If you have this Pluto placement, you are somebody either in a past life or in an early life in your childhood, growing up in an environment where there were a certain amount of stress going on. That could be stress in the family or with regards to siblings, where you now you seek to try to understand your environment and why things happen in a certain way. And this evolutionary journey of Pluto is telling us that either in a past life or in a very early part of your life, you were somehow, either you were limiting yourself or somebody in your environment was limiting you from using the studies of the metaphysics in order to help analyze your environment. Sometimes it's cosmological laws that helps you to classify certain things in your environment to give you better understanding of it. This was limited in one way or another. So for you, Pluto in the third house individuals, to be able to understand very deeply the core cause and effect, shall we say, of why certain things happen in your environment in a certain way, of why your mind works in a certain way, this gives you security. Because there's insecurity, like with all Pluto placements, there's insecurity when you don't understand. There's insecurity when you can't be heard. There's insecurities when your opinions and your ideas is not recognized or received by other people, when the problems don't get solved. So the problem comes with this Pluto placement when you're acting on these insecurities through how you deal with data and information that comes into your mind that's helping you to analyze your environment. Because the nature of data and information is that it is always flowing. It comes and it goes. Kind of like, when you're watching the news, right? There's news come and go. There's a new article, a new story that comes up every day, many thousands of them in a day. That's data and information. They're statistics, they're numbers. They are partially fact. Now, data and information can be twisted so that they, no longer really provide people with truth, because, that's kind of the news. That's what the news agencies are. And I apologize if any of you guys are like journalists or anything, but you have power as well if you're a journalist, by the way. But there's a lot of distorted news out there because certain organizations want to make money. So when you watch the news, there's a lot of negative stories being put out rather than positive stories and positive information. And why is that? It's because when you put out a positive story about certain things that happen, it doesn't generate as much drama. Even though there may be just as much happiness, just as much joy that's going on in the world as there are more of those problems in the world, or more suffering that's going on in the world, right? But the news is selective. It only chooses certain specific information that is going to generate drama in the society. Therefore, it can make money. And when the news organization can make money, it has security. And I think I kind of just summarized how your mind works, Pluto in third house people, is that you're kind of, okay, I feel like, you know, you have probably a journalistic mind, right? And this is how a journalistic mind kind of works, is that you're trying to solve certain problems, you're trying to figure something out, you're trying to get to the core of specific situations and event. But in order to do that, you have to gather data, information, statistics, right, from different sources. But that actually causes insecurity, because now there's so much data and so much information that you may feel like the problem's not going to be solved as quickly as you want, because in order for you to get rid of this insecurity really quickly, you need to be able to come up with a conclusion as fast as possible. So this is the shadow side of this particular Pluto placement, is like getting to that kind of narrow-mindedness type of a way of being, because you've selected certain data that makes you feel secure. Whether that data that you've selected can be taken on its own or not, whether it has, sometimes particular data has to be taken in accordance with its polarity, you know, but you may just choose one side of that data to support what you need to conclude in order to make yourself feel more secure. So you neglect the other side, the polarity of that particular data and information. So this is kind of the basis of why, you know, we can see why this Pluto placement can lead to that narrow-mindedness. And be careful if you have this one, because when you are selective of data and information and you present it, right, because the third house was communication, and you present it in such a way, because like I said previously, when you're heard, when you are seen, with regards to your information, your ideas and your opinions, then you feel more secure. It feeds your security. So you may present or communicate certain data and information to people that is one-sided, because you've come up with the conclusions too fast, that for your own security, but you present it in such a way that people can connect with you, can listen to you, and then you feel secure. So with this placement, with the danger of penetrating intellect, it is kind of an ability to brainwash other people if you're not working with your insecurity. But this placement can also mean that you may be engaged in a particular field of study or interest that you don't actually get to a place of mastery of that because you're too selective of the information, right? So you may be interested in, let's say you're interested in dogs and you doing vigorous studies on dogs, but you could actually master your knowledge of dogs if you were to allow the information to just come in freely with surrender. But because you are consistently not going to receive certain data information because of preconceived biases or preconceived notions that you feel it's going to trigger your insecurity, so you're going to reject or not even look into certain data information and just stick with what you already know and then try to go deeper into that data information, that you don't actually gain the mastery that you could gain. You're kind of stagnant in this level of understanding, this level of your analysis. So those are the different ways that this Pluto in the third house can work at its shadow level. And this is not only data information that you get through research, but it can also be through opinions of other people. Like when you talk to people to kind of, like when you talk to others in order to understand more about dogs, let's say, they give you certain information, you may feel like, whoa, that's just too much data information, it's causing me insecurity, so I'm not going to even think about that, I'm not going to try to use that or try to analyze that. And then now you've blocked your own mental development or your own ability to master in a specific field. So when you're reaching this blockage, it can make it harder for you to reach that comprehensive, holistic, wholesome, wider perspective understanding of yourself and your environment and of the world. Pluto is about surrender and it's about transformation. And your biggest transformation really comes through the surrender of allowing different opinions to impact you, allowing different data and information to impact you. But when it does, you must not stop it. You must not put a cap on it and say, oh, okay, now I'm feeling insecure. Let's stop it there. I'm going to go for what I don't feel so insecure with because of something in my past, and I'm going to stick with that. Because now you're just limiting it more. You allow it, you allow it, you allow it to impact you. It doesn't have to, the feelings that you get, it's not going to last forever. That you get, Pluto is representative of feeling. It's a feeling nature, right? The feeling that you get, it's not going to last forever because feelings come in waves. They come and they go. You may feel insecure when you first are approached with certain information, but that's not going to last forever. What actually happens once you allow this ability to receive data, information, opinions, facts, is that you will come to a realization that the human mind of the third house, the lower empirical mind, in its natural state of being, ultimately stops receiving the information, and you don't even have to control it. It automatically and naturally, once it has received enough data, kind of spirals into different sparkles, into lots of sparkles of the ninth house, which is the opposite axis of this. So once you can allow enough of empirical factual data to penetrate you, your intuition begins to kick in. That's how intuition works. Intuition works from this ability to synthesize and synchronize data information, but you have to have enough data information first so that your own capacity of your own mind, which you may not know what that capacity is if you try to block it, but if you can allow that capacity to occur, the mind itself, the intuition itself is going to be synchronized with the lower mind, the higher mind, and the lower mind is going to be synchronized on its own, and your intuition then begins to know what you know from the data and information. You begin to understand what you need to understand from all that data. And sometimes, in order for it to help with this intuition, if you could align yourself to a metaphysical system of some type that you feel in your gut, in your instinct, in your intuition is the right one for you. It may not be the right one for other people. It does not matter. As long as it's the right one for you. That is working with the intuition. Because when you're using something of the metaphysics, right? It's a really good practice because you're presented with certain data, like astrology, you're presented with certain data, but at the end of the day, you have to synchronize all that data together. So you can then become someone, when you have gone through this transformation, somebody who can link personal opinions with the ideas of a system in a way that is balanced and objective. Not biased and subjective and based on insecurity, but it's totally objective. You're somebody who can link the mind with the intuition, and you can see the truth when you do this. You can see the truth of certain situations. You can see the truth of your environment. What you were trying to figure out all along through using the lower mind, it is only with that higher mind, that intuition, that you already know. You already know why certain things happened to you the way they did. The truth is already there. You're going through this process of using the lower mind, of data, information, other people's opinions, so that ultimately you can get to the truth that always exists but can't be uncovered unless you worked with your lower mind. The inner truth is there within you. It's always been there. You're just working to uncover it, to listen to it. You go from being deaf to your own inner truth to seeing and hearing it with clarity. But remember, Pluto in the third house people, that your truth is just one version of the truth. There's absolute truth and there is relative truth. And this journey of yours is getting you to uncover the relative truth that is inside of you, because absolute truth already exists. Love, unity, that's absolute truth. There's a golden thread that binds various different paths to the truths together. Your path's not going to be the same as somebody else's path. And if you've really worked with this Pluto placement, you know that you can't stuff your opinions down someone else's throat. If you haven't worked with it, that's what you're going to do. If you haven't worked with it, you can be that master brainwasher. Or you can be somebody who never really gets to a place of mastery. Or you can be that person who needs to prove somebody wrong so that you can feel secure, so that you can feel good about yourself. But once you've worked with it, you're a natural communicator. You have communicative skills that can motivate, can inspire, can persuade other people into their own truth, not to your truth, but to their truth. You can do that. You can have a great ability to link the macrocosm with the microcosm, and how that is always working together. You can be like a mind reader of some kind, because the third house also rules our nervous system. Your nervous system is going to tell you, there's like this electrical field that's going on inside of you that's going to tell you what it is that other people are perceiving by being able to electrically exchange this energy with other people's kind of electrical field in their nervous system. If you have this, you know what I'm talking about. And that's how you know what somebody else is thinking, based on their patterns of their the neurons that's firing within them. You are an expert at being able to use facts, extracting fact and linking that to new heights of understanding. To be curious and allow your curiosity to take you where it needs to go. And simply because you are curious and you're following that curiosity, you get to the truth. That is your gift. And you are a gift to the world if you can get to that place of no longer acting on your insecurity of Pluto in the third house. Yes. So that's going to be my interpretation of Pluto in third house. If you have this placement, do comment below and let us know what your experiences have been. I do apologize if I've spoken and give my interpretation in a way that may have offended any of you guys out there, but in this Pluto series, I want to be as transparent and as honest with you guys as possible, because that's how Pluto works. And yes, I do birth chart reading, relationship readings. All the information is on my website. You can check that out. And yeah, I'll see you very soon, beautiful souls. Bye.